Pankaj Mishra, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Pankaj Mishra. Photograph, Wyndham Campbell Prize. To think about partition on its 70th anniversary is to think, unavoidably, about the extraordinary crisis in India today. The 50th and 60th anniversaries of one of the 20th century's biggest calamities were leavened with the possibility that India, liberal, democratic, secular and energetically globalizing, was finally achieving the greatness its famous leaders had promised. In contrast to India's grand and imminent tryst with destiny, Pakistan's fate seemed to be obsessive self-harm. The celebrations of a rising India were not much muted in 1997 and 2007, even as hands were dutifully wrung about the imperialist skullduggery and savage ethnic cleansing that founded the nation-states of India and Pakistan, defined their self-images and condemned them to permanent internal and external conflict. Today, as the portrait of a co-conspirator in the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi hangs in the Indian Parliament, it is the scale and ferocity of India's mutation that haunts our thoughts. But, should it really be so shocking? Were we too beguiled by the intellectual complacencies of historians and journalists, who turned liberal democracy, secularism, globalization and economic growth into articles of a new faith? It is of course easy to ignore the malign and enduring potency of partition. Many of our everyday experiences of pluralist identities comprehensively negate it. My own life has been enriched by Pakistani writers, musicians, cricketers and friendships across borders. Yet the Hindu fanatic who murdered Gandhi for being soft on Muslims in Pakistan exemplified early the lethal logic of nation-building. So did many avowedly secular Indian leaders, who used brute force to hold on to Kashmir. In many ways, Narendra Modi and his mob are completing the unfinished business of partition, the unification of a political community through identification and persecution of internal and external enemies. In conforming to this grimly familiar historical pattern, India has outpaced Pakistan, where regional differences served to check a ruthlessly homogenizing nationalism and Islamism, and no single ideological movement is able to colonize all key institutions of the state and civil society. We persuaded ourselves that India was somehow exceptional, immune to the political pathologies that have infected almost every nation on earth, and entered its bloodstream at birth. It is frightening to contemplate on this 70th anniversary what lies ahead for nuclear-armed South Asia.